Actually, I'm gonna record. Welcome everyone to the World Secret Podcast. It's another great day, this fabulous Tuesday, and today we are going to have an important discussion in digital system, which we're going to talk about data privacy and blockchain. Today we are much privileged to have one of the top experts when it comes to data privacy. He has over a decade in marketing and data business. He is also speaking at several international conferences such as UNESCO. He is the co-founder of the Privacy by Design Lab in Japan and also the president of Tokyo Chapter Government Blockchain Association. Ladies and gentlemen, Kohei Kurihara. Hello, Kohei.
Thank you. Yeah, hello. I'm very honored to be invited these great opportunities. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. It's also a great honor for us to have you on our discussion because we know the great projects you've been doing when it comes
Mm.
to data privacy. So, if we should get the ball rolling, I'd like to find out from you, why are you so much interested in data privacy?
Yeah, thank you for the questions. What I'm started on working on the data privacy is a simply I was invited to UNESCO 2 years ago. I had a discuss with some of the board members of the sub project, and they talked with me that a lot of companies or institution is not aware of using a technology, especially data for the societies. So this is the primary focus on my areas. And I'm getting into the space from the experiences. I have to commit my resources to spread the concept of the data privacy for the business, for the public utilization of the new technologies. So this is my brief histories, why I'm getting interested in data privacy. Besides, I'm working on the educations and the marketing space almost 10 years. This is a very sensitive to use the personal data for the educations for the public good. So that I'm trying to pave the more safety and safeguard system for the futures of ours. So this is my passions to work on this space.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's been your passion to work in the space of data privacy to help solve some of these problems, which you made some of these discovery when you had that discussion with some of the leaders of UNESCO.
Yes, they are worried about the many institutions, especially international organizations, is try to use the technologies for social good and social development. But the actually technology is new solutions for the societies. However, technology is not perfect, but sometimes they misunderstood technology will solve any issues in social problems, but actually they are not aware of the technical powers. So this is something that we have to solve from the technical educations. Then the privacy parts is also very serious. When we are choosing any technologies for the educations, but in the reality, this is a very big problems. In the classrooms, the child and the kids is going to collect their own data, such as their records of the educations and record of the testimony or anything. In case those data is being used for the unintentional consequences, those kids and the students is not aware why this outcome is happens. So this technical black box is not fair for the students and the kids. So my challenge is to try to make it more fairness for the technologies or technical object. So that's why I'm decided to work on this space, and we agree on the boards that they are also the similar interest to develop the better technology in the future.
Perfect, perfect. So, with regards to that, can you tell us some of the data privacy breaches happening recently? Because, just like you said, I mean, technology is to help us make things easier for us. But here is the case: some companies are taking advantage of our data for their own good. So, can you brief us on some of these data privacy breaches happening recently?
Yeah, maybe one of the very biggest, probably the data breach is been Facebook. It's almost it's almost 500 of the millions the people has been scraped of the data. But it's actually this is not intentional things for the Facebook side, but from the GDPR perspective, this is suspicious. Why they didn't notify to the administrators when they are finding that's the probably the breach of the data. So this is a very big impact for the users. Even we open our personal data on Facebook as a profile, such as the telephone numbers,
Yeah.
your contents on the streaming, then your personal address or your occupations, the many things is openness to prove the profile. But actually those data is been scraped, and the hackers or those data brokers made your profiles correctly, and that they targeted to the users for selling the something, the specific products. So this kind of the ecosystem is not fair for the users, and they are not being requested whether their data is being used for those purposes.
Mm.
So I assume those kind of the social network issues whether in upcoming this time, not only for the Facebook, but also the LinkedIn is going to do the same, as well as the Clubhouse, the like voice chat service. It's been kind of the hacked.
Mm.
So those kind of the issues will be happens one after others in accordance with the open the data. So this is just something I'm worried about this moment.
Wow. And surprisingly, these are platforms that we use every day. Like
Mm.
you're talking about millions of people using Facebook, in LinkedIn, using all these social media platforms. So it looks like there's a lot of risk here. Now, when we talk about blockchain, a lot of people have believed in the level of security that blockchain poses, how blockchain puts encryption in the information. So, can you let us know how blockchain can provide some solutions when it comes to data breaches?
Yes. With the blockchain has strong encryptions, which is the empowers the individual will be protected your data. And decentralized the data administration is in a more a version of the risk taking, such as hacking or one-point failures. Is a kind of the data breach risk arise. Through the blockchain will be solved that issues. Um, but the data breach is not just coming from the hacking, right?
Yeah,
In case you lost your data yourself, sometimes it happens,
yeah.
as well as you handle the data from your customers. You got the data, but you made unlawful processes. So this is also the one of the data breach. In the cases, blockchain is not a perfect solutions.
Okay.
From the security perspective, blockchain is the alternative way to store the data on decentralized servers. But the problem is the blockchain is not perfect. So we
Okay.
have to compare which data is being stored in the blockchain and the other data, how you deal it. So we have to make a hybrid operations, technical solutions, then human operations. So this is the ideal to work for the data protections and avoiding the data breach.
Oh, okay. So, are there any practical examples of blockchain helping promote data privacy? Just like you said, we know it can't give the perfect solution when it comes to data breach, but maybe to some extent it can help reduce the number of data breaches.
Yeah, one of the great use case that I used to work at is identity field. This means the blockchain is the one of the fundamental consensus makers of the identities. We call this process is DID, decentralized identifiers. This
Mm,
is not the stored personal data on the servers.
yeah,
Instead of the using identifiers, and those identifiers then decentralized.
yeah,
You can prove yourself, you are the real you, then you can access any services through the decentralized identifiers. This is the ideal part of it. However, there's many issues to go beyond for the penetrations. But I think this is the new alternative to choose the your identity is more protected. Then the privacy part is this moment, a lot of company is collecting too much of the data. But decentralized identity is give a choice for the users. User can choose. You can provide your data to where the specific services that you needed. Then you get the returns. This is the very natural based on the blockchains. I think this is the great way rather to use the centralized servers and the blockchain web that works if those identity will be chosen as the best choice for the users.
okay. So, just a follow up. If I get you clearly, are you saying that using these decentralized platforms can help reduce data breaches?
To be honest, data breach has been a very um, broad potential incidents, such as the you lost yourself. This is the problems, such as the even the identity you use on the blockchain, you lost your keys, you were not
Yeah,
able to accessing. That is
yeah.
also the kind of data breach.
Oh,
But
okay.
in case of the data breach by the hackers, you can reduce those potential incidents. This is the security parts. It's very complicated. My recommendation is when it's come to saying that's about data breach, what kind of the data breach you want to avoid and what kind of data breach you want to take. So this is the kind of the risk mitigations. We are not zero, but we try to mitigate the as minimum as we can. So this is
Yeah.
the ideas that we have to change their mind.
Yeah. So with regards to what you just said, you made mention of, for instance, even in blockchain, where when you misplace your keys, it's like you don't have access to your digital assets again. And that's another kind of data breach. Can you tell us other forms of data breach? Because sometimes what we all know is um, companies mining our data and selling it for their own good. Can you breathe us for us to know the various kinds of data breach, which I mean we see in our everyday lives, but we ignore.
Um, that is a very broad questions, but
Mm,
for me, the one of the very important method to avoid the data breach is that we have to increase our internet literacies,
Okay.
because the hackers has been a very using a cutting edge technologies, or just they are very clever and smart to make an automation, such as they create a bot for the scraping. They create a bot and scraping all the data through the social platform. But the user side, just like me or just like you, is not aware those kind of incidents what happens if you put on the data on the Facebook profile. So this is the very big gaps in between
Mm,
the criminal incident makers and users. So this is the process that we have to commit at this time to make an educations for the users, and we become aware this is happens actually, and this is very hard to avoid. That we try to be care which data is been open, then you can take a benefit. Which data you lose, you will be
you'll be okay to lose
bad
it.
infection, yeah, through that.
Okay.
So this is the balances, and which data you can disclose to the others, and you were not able to disclose to the others. So this is the literacies of the cell, and also it's the same for the privacies. Even the medical data, some people is worried about the privacy and sensitive, but the other people wants to open this data. Anybody can see their data, and they want to take a treatment. So this is the difference per person. Then we are not able to define from the corporate sides, the companies. So this is very upsetting the ideas of the system making frameworking. So that's why I'm focusing on the user sides, and we try to interact with them. Which privacy you can open, which privacy you want to close it. So
Okay.
this is up to the users.
Oh, okay. So, like from what you're saying, the main focus now is regards to the users, because at the end of the day, we can't avoid data breaches completely. But let's see which of the data they are okay to have open or in public, and which of the data they want to make it private or keep it secure. Okay, so on that, can we find out, or we like to know, what will be the biggest challenge when it comes to protecting data privacy? Even if you should
Uh,
bring in technology like blockchain, what are some of the biggest challenges?
yes, that's a very good questions. From the blockchain side, we have many algorithms, then
Okay.
consensus. Maybe you know that's kind of the just proof of stake, the proof of the like the proof of yeah, many things that we can imagine. Even the blockchains that we have many algorithms is the working and the practice is times. But for the data privacy, it relies on the user conceptions, and
Mm,
as well as that we have a regulation such as the GDPR,
yeah.
the underlining of the data protection, the concept of the privacy by design. So this strong regulation is requires the some of the DSR is the data subject request, which means users can make a request for the data controllers. Data controller means who is running, who is been responsible to administrate of the data, such as Facebook and Google has been a data controller in some cases. However, the blockchain is not defined who is the data controllers because we are decentralized. Who is responsible with the customer data? This is a very big problem.
Yeah.
And when the customer requires that they want to give back the data from the blockchains, oh, it's a decentralized. So this is a very big problem.
Yeah.
This is one of the challenges that the blockchain people is working on this part. Then we have to take some of the reference whether this technology could be working underlying of the regulations. And we committed what kind of the blockchain that works then structurally, as well as the consensus making, as well as the other parts such as who is a node, how the nodes control this, and and the identity part is the who is identifiers, who is administrators.
Mm.
So this is a very complicated issues. So we have a lot of issues at this times when it's come to the using of blockchains and the preventing the data privacy.
Okay. Okay. I see. So actually, something that a lot of people are happy about, which is the decentralization aspect of blockchain, can also become an obstacle when it comes to protection of data privacy. So, can you tell us your final thoughts on data privacy and anything you want our listeners to know on data privacy?
Okay. The privacy is the basic rights of ours. It's not defined by the companies or data controllers who wants to use your data. It's a basic rights for the users who give a data and expect for the returns.
Okay,
So this is the basic ideas I have in mind.
okay,
And blockchain is the one way to solve the issues technically, but this is not a perfect. A lot of
okay,
issues exist in the times, and a lot of good point as well. We have to take some of the literacies. What is a blockchain? What is a privacy? How those technology will be migrated to solve the issues,
mm,
such as you worry about the privacy, you don't want to send the data to the specific service, but in the cases you are not able to use the services. So this is also problems. The best way is you can give your data for very trusted services to realize a trusted environment. So blockchain is a good way, and blockchain is the alternative way for the futures. But the problem is not just the technical things. The problem is just our belief of the technologies. So that's why I'm committed this part. Then I'm happy to do the same things with all the listeners for the futures.
that is amazing. That's amazing. I believe because I do see the things you freely post online concerning data privacy, and I believe if we keep doing our part, because we also play a major role in helping protect our data. So if we can play our little part, then we can help improve data privacy. So the final thing which I like to finish with this discussion, what is world secrets to you?
Yeah, for me, it's just a contribution to the surrounds.
Okay.
I'm working on this space. Just in the beginning, I started my education careers. I was inspired from my surrounds, regardless of the genders, aging, backgrounds. That inspired me. That's why I'm working on these things. Then education is a very key element for us to take more flourish the words. My wealth is just give anything for the good, the people who needs them a help, then they succeed into the others. So this is a very great circulations of the wealth, then economies. So this is my secrets.
Wow, I like your secrets.
Mhm.
So, can you tell us? Hopefully, our listeners would like to maybe find you on social media and interact
Sure.
with you. So, can you, tell us where they can find you on social media? So, your handles, the social media platform, and the respective handle.
Okay. I'm using Twitter and LinkedIn is so active. You can find me the Kohei Kurihara on LinkedIn. On Twitter, my name is Atmark Kurihara N Kuriharan. You can come to my account. I'm posting it related to the privacy and securities or some informations to help my followers can find any tips that I can that they can find any directions. I'm happy to help to interact with all.
That's amazing. So, there you go, folks. The name is Kohei Kurihara on Twitter, and you can also find him on LinkedIn. I'm going to post the LinkedIn name in this chat as well. And also, when we publish it, it's also going to be open for everyone to see so that they can easily follow and interact with you on LinkedIn, especially because we are in a digital age and we can't do without data privacy. So, this is very, very important. So, Kohei, thanks so much for today for this wonderful discussion with the World Secrets community.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting. That's very honored.
All right. So we look forward for future collaborations. I think there's this term that you use often. Is it collaborate? Like, I think I want to say like, let's collaborate. I really like that that abbreviation.
Mhm. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So, folks, here we go. Boss Secret Podcast. Today we are bringing it to an end. We're gonna continue next week. Next week we'll be discussing evolution of NFTs, and our special guest is in the person of Eloisa Machesoni, another top expert in blockchain and NFTs. Stay safe, everyone. You can follow me at the smartest NK on Twitter, and you can also follow my co-host who wasn't available today for some reasons, the Mixed on Twitter as well. You can also listen to the published episode on Podbean. You just type WS podcast and you're gonna discover all the episodes we've had, all the wonderful discussions we've had with our global guests. Stay safe, everyone. Same time next week. Catch you. Bye bye. Bye bye, Kohei.
Thank you.
Mm.